With questions, people, was this should be like a 7-minute presentation on
Jasmine, were you able to add me? Were you able to send those to me?
Magically turn itself on. There it is. Hi. Oh, hello. I don't want to try because it's your phone.
Aha, I just received it. Thank you. It looks like I've got all of it. I will just, when you do it, I will just have to drag each one over.
Hello.
Hello!
Welcome. Hi, Diane. How are you? I'm sorry I missed your event on Saturday. I look forward to seeing you photos. All right. Are you ready? Yep. Gage, are you driving this?
I am.
Great.
Kind of. Yes.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome to our general meeting. For those of you who are new or newer to our wonderful choir, we do 2 general meetings of our nonprofit annually. This is one of them. Our fiscal year runs from September to August, so this is the very beginning of a new fiscal year for us. And Jasmine Lawrence, our treasurer for this next 2 years, will be providing a financial update today. But I'm going to start us off with the results of the member engagement survey. I will preface this presentation by saying that these are very preliminary, high-level results. I have not had a chance since Monday afternoon to do a more in-depth analysis or a super deep dive into all of the comments, but this is a synthesis of the major themes and many of the comments that we did receive. I will be preparing a more in-depth report along with some action items for the board and our music director and our artistic director and our program committee and our section leaders to take forward from the suggestions that you all have made. So thank you, all of you. 38 people responded to the survey, so that is just under a 70% response rate of our 55-member choir. So thank you to all of you who responded. If after this presentation you think, oh man, I wish I had responded, and you want your comments to be included in the bigger report, please let me know and I will turn it back on and you can sneak in your comments, but I will be strict on the timeline because I have a job. All right, so onward. Yes, 38 responses. This is the sort of makeup of the folks who responded in terms of how long they've been with us. I would like to shout out to the 8% of you who this is your first season and you still filled out our survey. Thank you. I know a lot of the questions were probably hard for first season folks to fill out because some of them asked about last year and you may not have a super good sense of how we do things so far, but I really appreciate you jumping in and responding. So next slide, please.
Yes, I'm trying. I have a clicker for you.
Oh, wow, so fancy. All right, how satisfied are you with your overall experience as a member of OCC? Doing very well on this. We had a couple of folks who are a little farther towards the very dissatisfied end, but the vast majority of you are very satisfied. 5 out of 5, 10 stars, would recommend. So good job, thank you. Well, where do I point it?
Over here. Well, yes.
Great. Yes, I love this. Okay. So some themes from when I asked folks to tell me what they like about being members of the OCC. These are some of the major themes. Community, camaraderie, Friendship, fellowship, support, sense of belonging was the most frequent theme that was mentioned by respondents to the survey. Joy of singing and music making. Folks mentioned harmony, the beauty of music, the joy of learning new pieces, making beautiful noise with beautiful people. And many people mentioned leadership and direction. A lot of appreciation was voiced for Gage and Crystal, for the quality of the program and for the patience and inspiration that leadership provide broadly. And then shared purpose and mission, the mission meaning creating transformational experiences and bringing joy to audiences were all things that folks mentioned. Just a couple of other quotes. Community support and patient and considerate director. The satisfaction of working together to create a transformational performance for singers and audience alike. So lots of really, really good things that people had to say about their experience here, and I love these comments, so thank you. All right, that's me. Okay, how connected do you feel to the other members of the choir? This is really great. You guys really feel connected to each other. We all feel connected to each other for the most part. I was pretty surprised by these responses, so that's fantastic. I don't have a lot to say here because this was just a select the button exercise. There's not a lot of qualitative data. Do you feel that the OCC fosters an inclusive and welcoming environment for all members? Almost everybody said yes. A couple of people said it depends, and we will dig more into those comments in the full report when we have a chance to sort of digest those. And I don't want to call them out because they might be identifying. It's a small number. All right. Now, challenges that people noted, and I do have a little bit more context for each one of these. So there were lots and lots of comments about rehearsal efficiency. This was the most common theme that people mentioned, and it mostly has to do with distractions, wasted time, like people talking, people not arriving on time, crosstalk, lots of confusion in terms of like, are we actually spending time rehearsing or are we spending time talking and doing a lot of announcements and other extraneous things? So lots of people had comments about flow and productivity of rehearsals and wanting to spend more time singing together. So that was a very common response. Too much chatter, too many people interrupting the director, which leads to a loss of focus and precious rehearsal time. These are just some quotes. Some members expressed frustration with repetitive exercises like hammering on mistakes, maybe notice a mistake and move on, or a perceived lack of efficiency in how time is used. People not listening and the director having to repeat instructions or repeat parts or repeat which page we're on came up frequently as well. Another main theme was member preparedness and conduct. So this is also kind of related in terms of individual members being prepared and on time and ready to sing and with their music kind of in order and having practiced. We got some comments about there being frustration with some people not being prepared for rehearsals. There was also a lot of comment in this section about how challenging it can be for especially new members to catch up and to feel like they're keeping up with being prepared. Feeling unprepared being related to feeling overwhelmed by the amount of music that one has to learn. So that ties then into learning and preparation materials. There were a lot of comments about the MIDI files, not surprisingly. Lots of folks would love to have all of our sound files sung, which is something that we have been working towards, and we have been making progress towards that over the last several years. For those of you who've been in the choir for many, many years, we didn't often, if ever, have sung voice tracks. So this is a newer addition to choir preparation materials that we make available. And there is a cost associated with paying someone to sing the tracks, especially for songs that we produce in-house, because those are not well-known songs, they're not published, and so we have to hire folks specifically to record those pieces. There were also a few folks who mentioned that they were frustrated by the voice tracks not matching up exactly with the written score, and sort of the reconciliation of those mistakes being frustrating or lacking. Some folks wanted more guidance on how to learn music independently, like sight reading tips, and lots of people mentioned how complex the music can be, especially learning pieces off book. We got several folks who commented about how much time it takes to memorize so many songs, and a few comments about having a lot of off-book pieces. So that came up several times. Overall atmosphere and culture. This was this was a less common theme, but something that I still wanted to highlight. It focuses on a perceived shift in the choir's atmosphere, moving from being more community focused to something that is more professional feeling or more rigid and academic. People used words like too serious, too controlled, rather than it being an enjoyable community atmosphere. So this is kind of a growing pains thing that a few people mentioned. And I don't have the overall count of the number of people who brought this up, but it did seem like something that was important to raise in this context. So yeah, and then a couple of comments, again, maybe 2 or 3 comments about not as much humorous or funny music as potentially we have done in the past, and people wanting to get back to kind of that quirky, community, funny stuff. So a few comments about that as well. Logistical challenges included problems like a long commute, the bulletin board being a little hit or miss or challenging to navigate. And there were 2 comments about the COVID policy, and there were a couple of comments about the all black dress code, so just some kind of miscellaneous logistical items that people brought up. But overall, I will say that the amount of comments that we received that were about what you like about your experience were much higher in volume, and there were a lot more positive things that people had to say versus what they find challenging or frustrating about being in the choir. So I found that very comforting, and I think we have a lot of good suggestions here that we can take back to the board and to the program committee and to the section leaders to kind of figure out how we can try to address some of these challenges that folks are experiencing. This question was about rehearsal schedule overall, the daytime and length. People are pretty happy with Wednesdays from 7 to 9:30, so keep it up. I can't imagine the OCC ever changing from Wednesdays. Okay, hold on. Okay, something happened.
I know.
Okay. I don't know what's happening. Thank
There
you.
you go.
Okay, the length of the following components of rehearsals. Almost everybody thought that most of the components of rehearsals are about right, with a pretty mixed perspective regarding musical education. Some people saying it's too short, some people saying it's too long. Parts practice, people feel is too short. Only 1 or 2 people thought that was too long. A couple of people think we spend too much time on warm-ups. Nobody thinks we're doing too few warm-ups, so that will surprise no one. And again, some mixed feedback there about breaks, but again, you can see here, the vast majority of people feel like the time that we spend on these components is about right overall. I don't know if this is working.
All right, I'll make all
Just
yes.
Okay, resources that we provide to help you learn and practice music. So people love sheet music and voice recordings. MIDI recordings, again, to no one's surprise, get very mixed reviews. The practice logs are not being used for the most part, is sort of the overwhelming majority there is not using the practice logs. And then sectionals, folks are satisfied to very satisfied with sectionals for the most part. But again, sheet music and voice recordings are the most popular of the things that we provide for learning. This question was about having opportunities to ask questions and receive clarification during rehearsals. I was actually a little surprised by this. So 80% of people almost said yes, they feel they have adequate opportunities to ask questions. We did get a few comments from folks about feeling like understanding that not interrupting rehearsal is important, but also feeling like they're not always getting timely responses to the questions that they're asking via the sort of card system. So that's something that I think we can work on with the section leader program as well. Next, please. We had a question about what would you do to improve rehearsals, so related to what people are frustrated about, just generally about being in the choir. It was mostly about rehearsal related stuff. So we also asked for rehearsal improvement suggestions, pacing and efficiency. These are just general themes that came up from the comments, but reducing non-singing time, improving transitions, and communicating rehearsal focus in advance. So a few folks said they would like to know 24 to 48 hours before rehearsal, what songs we're going to be working on so that they can focus on those in their practice. Start and end on time came up a few times, clearer announcements came up a few times, and equal practice time came up in terms of all of the parts getting sort of an equal amount of time to practice when we're doing part stacking practice. That came up from one or two commenters. Then we also got comments about member engagement and people staying focused. So anything we can do to help keep people focused during rehearsals. That was a lot of suggestions were about staying focused and encouraging people to listen, especially when Gage is talking, so that he doesn't have to repeat himself so many times. So suggestions that will probably surprise. No. Let's see if I had some notes here. Yeah, overall, there were 12 mentions of pacing and efficiency, so that was kind of the biggest improvements suggestion that we got. Okay, next is feedback on the music selection. So we asked you to let us know how you feel about the kind of music that we sing in this choir. And the overwhelming majority of folks said very positive things about the music selection. People really appreciate the current choices and the mix of genres. I have some quotes here. I like having a mix of different genres. Each season is a mix of songs. So the word mix came up a lot. It was really popular. Like, we do a lot of different kinds of things. It doesn't feel one note. It feels like there's some diversity and variety in what we sing, and people seem to really enjoy that. Some comments also about how thoughtfully curated the program seems to be, and how it's tied to a central theme. I'm very satisfied with the mixture and happy that we have a story or theme that clearly ties it all together. I appreciate the emphasis of laid on social justice and engendering hope in a very sad, helpless time. And then also comments like more laughter would be good, not always so serious. And then the next one, this was my favorite. So this happens, and this is funny, I'm gonna tell like a little side story, but there was an effort in this choir in the late 90s to kind of address member concerns similar to what we're doing right now, just like getting people's feedback. And what was known as the program director at the time wrote up this kind of letter to the choir in which she talked about how surprising she found it that for every really strongly held opinion about one way we should be doing something, there was always at least one opposing but equally strong opinion about how we should be doing something. So we got comments here like, we should do more pop music, we should do less pop music, we should do more religious music, we should do less religious music. So it's like, we can't please everybody all the time with all of the songs, but I think the comments before about the mix and the variety of songs speak to kind of the effort that the program committee has been undertaking over the last several years, at least, to really make sure that there is a mix and a variety of songs so that you may not love every single song every season, and we got a couple comments about that too, where it's like, oh, there's usually one or two in a season that it takes me a while to warm up to, but I usually do, and I love performing, and so it doesn't really matter. But I just wanted to highlight that this is always going to be the case, that some people really want one thing, and some people really want the opposite thing, and so trying to find that kind of balance and variety, I feel like is hard, but it's something that clearly from y'all's comments is something that the program committee has been doing a pretty good job at. So thank you to the artistic director and your program committee for taking all of these closing views. But we did, just going back to this, we didn't get any comments that we should do fewer humorous songs or fewer original songs. So just to point that out, that, you know, there were several comments of really liking that we perform original music and wanting to do more of that. Okay. This question is about how well the choir is promoted and supported for performances. Fairly good scores here. And then we got some additional comments, which I didn't have a chance to theme for this presentation, about how to improve that and how to do some more, you know, improved support, improved marketing, improved fundraising. So you won't see those comments here, but they will be in the full report that I'll send out later. So, I'll call out here that, again, people like the music selection. They're happy with the venues for the most part. The biggest piece of feedback here is that we had, I believe, 9 respondents say that they are dissatisfied with the number of performances. And we got a handful of comments about there being too many performances, that 6 performances is too many, it's a lot, it's exhausting, and that we should do fewer than 6. So that was something that did come up from at least 9 people who said they were dissatisfied.
Brittany, they asked for anyone who wanted more performances?
I did not see any comments about wanting more performances. And I haven't done that deep dive. Again, that's one of the things I want to look at, is of the people who said that they were dissatisfied, kind of what were their comments, because there was an open comment box to add more to this. And so I want to see, of those people who were not satisfied, did anybody say, oh, we need to do more performances? I don't remember that being the case, but I will look at that. Okay. Improving performances, riser management, everyone's favorite. This is getting on and off the risers. This is my 2-word term for traffic, right? Like less traffic. I think, you know, this is always something that comes up as a frustration during performance time, that getting on and off of the risers and transitions and staging is complicated and has been frustrating for folks. So there's a clear desire for more practice and better choreography for moving on and off of the risers. A couple of comments about, you know, we need more risers, a bigger stage, and, you know, we're just working kind of with what we've got. But yeah, that's good feedback. Let's see, number of performances. Like I mentioned, some people mentioned feeling fried or fatigued due to the number of concerts. Artistic and thematic elements. Oh, no, I didn't have that in there because it was not that many comments. Okay. Marketing, we had a couple of comments about more marketing, like articles in local papers to increase audience attendance. We had 1 or 2 folks say that they feel like Gage has too many things to do at performance time, and that they've observed that he has a lot of tasks. And I think this was meant in a very generous way to say, Gage, we would love to help you. That's how I'm taking that comment. And then there was one suggestion made to create a system for gathering audience feedback on songs or on the program in general, to help us inform future program choices. This is then more into like governance and organizational structure for the choir itself. So we asked about how effective folks found communication to be from these choir leaders. Crystal, you win the prize at the most effective communicator. Followed closely by Gage, and then very, very very varied responses around your section leader, the board of directors, and the program committee. So we have some work to do there in those areas. But yes, clearly folks are getting what they need from Crystal. Almost everyone said that email was their preferred method for receiving important choir updates. This is more of just a process thing for us to know how to communicate with you. The second most common response was in-person announcements. Again, this is more of an internal thing for us communication-wise to understand how well people understand the way that the choir works. And this is one of the ones where I'm going to remove the responses of people whose first season it is, because I don't expect them to understand these processes. But I do also want to do an analysis of kind of like, does it depend on how long you've been in the choir or not really? Or, we'll see how these responses may vary based on the characteristics of respondents. But for the most part, people feel like they mostly understand most of the things that we do. But some things are a little bit murkier, policy decisions and solo audition decisions being the things that seem to be not as completely well understood. And then we did a survey sort of like this at a retreat a couple of years ago. We asked people sort of what kinds of skills do you have that you could contribute to the choir if you were interested or had capacity or were asked to do that. So we asked if people were aware of opportunities to volunteer your time. Yay, I'm so glad that 84% of you are aware of ways to volunteer your time. And to those 15% of you, I will find you. I'm just kidding, you don't have to volunteer if you don't have time. And then this is about what I was expecting for this response, kind of like, yeah, maybe, and then no. And most of the no's, to be honest, were people who said, I already volunteer. So I think we have a good group of folks who are interested in volunteering, and Maria is our volunteer coordinator for this year. She's going to be sort of restructuring some of our volunteer program and creating some discrete volunteer jobs that people can just take on and do outside of choir time. And then there's other jobs, of course, that we need help with during rehearsals and during performances. Again, similar, this is more of an internal thing for us to analyze, but for the most part, people feel that their skills and talents are recognized, and we will find you. If you put your skills into the survey, I will find you, even though it was anonymous. It's a question about the transparency of the choir's finances. So we're doing pretty well. People feel pretty satisfied about the transparency of the choir's finances. You're going to get more transparency tonight. Jasmine will tell you how we did last fiscal year. So doing pretty well here. Oh, this is, clarity of roles and responsibilities of board of directors, program committee, music director, and artistic director. Pretty good responses here. I think, as you might expect, not as clear for the board or the program committee, but the music director and artistic director seem to be pretty straightforward. I just wanted to pull out some quotes that I really liked. So someone said, I just love this choir and I am so happy to be part of it. I really love the choir and feel super grateful to be a part of this community. Thanks for asking our opinions. I am grateful to be part of this choir and community and for how my musical skills are continually developing. Thank you. So again, thank you all for your responses. So again, thank you to everybody who responded. And if you are now so excited to add your voice to this survey, please let me know and I will open it back up and send that link out to folks who didn't get a chance to respond yet. So any questions before I pass it off to Jasmine Hunt, our treasurer? I mean Jasmine Lawrence, our treasurer. Sorry, no, it's not Jasmine Hunt. Jasmine Hunt is our grants manager and vice president. So questions about the survey or the results or anything else? You're very welcome. All right, Jasmine.
There is also a comment microphone on the music stand as needed, just up front.
Oh, okay, yes. If you have comments or questions, we will bring you a mic.
We'll find.
All right, hello. For those of you who don't know, I'm Jasmine Lawrence. I'm your treasurer, and I put together a few documents which might be of interest related to the choir's finances. I'm going to present a profit and loss statement for our last fiscal year. I've got a preliminary budget for the next fiscal year, and I've got a little overview, which I already showed the board at our last board meeting, of the marginal profits from each of the concerts from our last season. Gage, could you pull up the, oh, there you go. This is our profit and loss statement comparing the last fiscal year with the fiscal year before that. There's a lot of numbers on here. Let me give you the bottom line. Revenue is up and expenses are also up. And so we are doing pretty good. We're doing all right. We're doing fine. Let's talk about these revenues, because one thing you'll notice is that in the dues category, income from members, we have seen the implementation of our new sliding scales system for dues, and many of you have donated more than the $150 level, which is great, and that has resulted in a significant increase in the amount of income that we're getting from our members. So give yourselves a pat on the back. Thank you, everybody. Of course, we have then turned around and then spent that money. Could you scroll down to the expenses?
Yes, Justin. You want expenditures?
Yes. Now, as you can see, there's a nice increase in the salary for our accompanists. They definitely deserve it. They work very hard, and so your extra dues are helping keep them paid. You'll also see somewhere in there is a salary for the music director and the artistic director.
That
Further
should
down.
be, yes.
Oh yes, that's under operating expenses. We've given them a raise as well. Again, I think it's very well deserved for doing a great job. And that's where most of the extra money has gone, is to pay our staff members more. And so as a result, I think our income has slightly increased. Our net income has slightly increased. You can also see, I'll go back to the income section. Let's go to the concert income. So one change that we did make was we switched our ticket providers to go through a Chorus Connection for our online ticket sales. This has resulted in kind of some moving around of where the numbers are. You can see there's additional money that we made from donations with the online ticket sales. And the overall ticket sales were up, which is good. But also we've got slightly increased expenses related to the tickets, as there's a slightly higher transaction fee when we have large numbers of ticket sales, because they take a little percentage. Are there any questions about this profit and loss statement? I hit some of the highlights. Yes.
We had an extraordinary event last year, a fundraiser. Is that included in here?
That's an excellent question. We did incur some additional expenses for that fundraiser. And I believe that event we sold fewer tickets but earned more profit per ticket. But then some of the ticket prices ended up in tickets instead of concessions because people got the food cup included with it. And we'll see more about that when we get to the concert by concert report, which will be one of the next documents. Any other questions about the profit and loss statement? Yes.
I see that house manager amount went down.
Voluntary.
Is that?
Yeah. We volunteered to
Yes.
receive less.
The house manager volunteered to take a pay cut.
She's a flight gal. She sure is. Yeah.
Any other questions about the profit and loss statement? I guess I could email this out to the choir if anybody wants to see it in more detail and look. Put it up on Chorus Connection. That's a great idea. I'll do that after this meeting. Okay. If there are no further questions about this document, oh, yes.
I was just wondering why we changed ticket services.
I forget. Why do we change ticket services?
We modified the ticket service that we were using because it is incorporated. It's easier for our tracking over the length of time. It's in our chorus management platform. Also, it allows us to host a separate ticketing website where they don't have to click through from our tickets to like a PayPal and then pay. It's handled in a single processor, and it looks more professional.
Thank you, Gage. Yes, there you go. Great reason, because it's easier on our back end and fewer clicks and more professional stuff. Yes. Any other questions?
What's the
Yes.
bottom line?
The bottom line? Oh, yeah, scroll down to the bottom line.
We're in the black.
We're in the black. Our net revenue increased slightly by like $3,000. Well, we were at like 2,000, now we're at like 3,000, so that's great. And we've got a decent amount of money in the bank too. By the way, I prepared a balance sheet too, but it wasn't very interesting. So I didn't include it in the presentation. I see a hand raised way in the back.
I have one more thing about the ticketing fees.
Yes.
When we switched to Chorus Connection from PayPal, instead of the person purchasing the tickets absorbing the credit card processing fees, we now absorb that fee. So a $25 ticket is a $25 ticket. And I think that it is of benefit for us at this time and led to part of our donations, extra donations, because people feel like we are being very transparent.
Yes, I believe those are directly correlated, is my guess. All right, great. Take us to the budget.
It'll take me just a second to make it big. Great.
Right, this is a preliminary budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't come up with any major financial changes that we were expecting. So it's mostly just I plugged the numbers from last year and I rounded them to indicate uncertainty in fewer significant digits. So if you look at this, you'll see that I budgeted some stuff that's basically the same as last time. I put in like extra bits for like miscellaneous expenses that I might have forgotten about. I wasn't sure how much you'd be getting in grants, so I just plugged in, I forget how much I put under grants, but
5,000.
yeah, there you go.
It's already 2,000.
There you go. Well, if we get more, that's great. If we get less, I mean, we got money in the bank, we'll be okay.
Would you like me to scroll down?
Yeah, scroll down. What do we got here? Let's see.
We don't expect these to change.
Yeah, these are mostly like stuff that I'm expecting to be, you know, about the same as last year. And if it's great, then I would love for some of the income to go up, or for some of the expenses to go down. But you know, income going up and expenses going up to cover it, that's good too. I'm projecting, based on the similar numbers, that we'll get similar numbers next year. Yes.
We tried, it was my impression that it was a little bit experimental to have more merch for sale. But that isn't something, that there was more merch for sale than we ever did.
That's an excellent question.
And I wonder how that went.
We sold like $700 and something worth of merch. And we still have like $1,500 worth of merch that we haven't sold yet. I have chosen to book that as an asset and inventory and bring it down in cost of goods sold as we sell them, rather than putting it all as an expense and having the sales be pure profit. This makes the accounts slightly more accurate, but also much more difficult for me, so it may have been a mistake.
Well, have people been, I don't know who, the board, seeing that and thinking about how worthwhile that may be?
Well, I would say personally that I think it's cool that we have merch, and I think we've still got a good stock still left. So we'll go through that, and if we sell through enough of it, then we can do a reorder and get more of it. And if not, then we can keep selling what we got until we can sell through all of it. Yes.
Can you send out, or make a copy of the balance sheet, send out the other?
Sure, heck, why not? The main highlight of it is we got like a little under $20,000 in the bank, so a good stockpile of cash. Thanks in large part to some of the grants we've gotten recently. Yes.
Is the survey that was just shared going to factor into the revisioning possibly of the budget in the sense of possible marketing or possible, thank you, I heard a yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions about the budget or the preliminary budget? Yes. Okay, take us to whatever I titled the third one. The concert profit report. All right, so this report I did just covering the marginal operating income and expenses, meaning I excluded anything that's a fixed cost that applies to the entire concert season, regardless of how many concerts we do. This is only the ones that are linked to this specific concert. If we didn't have the concert that night, we would not be paying that money and we would not be getting that income. That's the idea behind this one. Oh man, I should have put the number of tickets sold on here. That would be useful information. Someone asked about it at the board meeting when I showed up the first time, and I forgot to add it. Well, there were some number of tickets sold. I already see a hand raised. The venue expense is on line 12.
The first 3 weekends, the first 3 concerts are in OCA, and then 5/9 was Tamales, 5/10 was the Saturday Night Blizzard, and 5/11 was
Yeah, small, that's why it says 0.
Aha, here we go, flip it.
So here, I will highlight OCA. That's OCA. This is Tamales, and these were the 2 Glazer concerts.
Oh, there we go.
This was slightly different due to the gala.
Yeah, so some trends you might notice. Sunday concerts have been our most successful last season. The Saturday concerts, the Saturday concert in Tamales had fairly dismal attendance. You might have noticed, for those of you who are not new and you were singing in Tamales, we had a pretty sparse audience. And I was actually very concerned when I was looking at the ticket sales. Are we even going to turn a profit on this after paying the accompanist? But it turns out it helps a lot when the venue is not charging you anything, because it really cuts down on the expenses. Yes, that too. So we ended up making a small profit of like a marginal profit of like $250 on Tamales.
It wasn't the lowest profit.
And it wasn't the lowest profit. The lowest profit was actually the second Friday at OCA, where we only got $216 of marginal profit. Remember, we're also getting profit from like sponsorships and ads and stuff, but that's about over all of them. The second Friday was actually the weakest, after considering the venue costs and all that. Column F was our gala event, I believe.
Yes.
So you'll notice that we actually did pretty well on that, but we had higher expenses. I believe the story with this one was we sold fewer tickets, but we got like more money per ticket. So it kind of evened out. Yes.
Sorry to keep asking all of them. Is there a correlation between like number of ticket sales and timing? It's like the evening shows do better than that. It seems like.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, you probably have to look at that over.
I think the data set here is too small to draw a lot of conclusions about that particular thing. I do think there's probably a correlation, but it's hard to tease out, and I'm not sure how strong it is.
We looked at that before. There's also a big difference between spring versus winter.
There's always a huge difference between spring and winter. Usually the winter concerts have higher attendance. This is pretty good for a spring concert, I think. Yes.
So based on the question of how many concerts we should have, and looking at that second Friday return, I'm going to remind everyone that traditionally we always had our concerts on Saturday and Sunday, and we added the first Friday community first night as a way to pick up people on a night that traditionally was a bad night for concerts. And Friday is traditionally a bad night for concerts, just bad anywhere. So you might think about that when you think about how many concerts we have, and maybe switch from 6 to 5 and drop the second Friday.
That's a good point. Actually, when we've done 5 concerts in the past, I believe usually it was the second Friday that we didn't do on those seasons, mostly 3 the first weekend, and 2 the second weekend? Hand raised.
The second Friday has become our Tamales concert at this moment in time, which is we don't pay for the venue concert, but I think the question is still important. But I want to state that all of the second Fridays from here on are currently planned in Tamales.
Yeah, I believe that's been sort of the consistent underdog in terms of attendance. It's the second Friday. Turkey Day. Yes.
Do you have a comparison to when we did the concerts later at 7 o'clock and now we have more at 3?
No.
That's something I would like us to work on, is preparing a more complete analysis of the last season's post-COVID, right? Like coming back from COVID, how have we done over time and what have been the trends? So that's something we can bring back to the choir.
I was concerned that it might not be as useful for data because there were other factors that changed as well, which obfuscate things.
We can put that together.
Well, there you have it. Yes.
Well, I would love to see, to add to that, the dates and times of the concerts and then the amount of ticket sales compared to what they were when we had lower prices.
I actually remember, I feel like we had something like that when we first changed the price.
Yeah, we can bring back all of those analyses if that's of interest.
I think we ended up concluding that we were pretty happy with the price change. It was a higher revenue overall. I can't remember, we might have had a slight drop in attendance, but if we did, it was definitely offset. I don't think it was much of a drop, yeah.
Didn't we also have a neurodivergent concert?
Oh.
Which you did that?
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. I forgot, when I first made this spreadsheet, I didn't have, there was one line that I should have had that I didn't. It was because I hadn't cashed the check yet, it turns out. But we got a grant for our inclusive concert on the second Sunday. And actually they, like a $1,100 or something.
Well, it was 2,000, but I think we might not have spent it all.
Yeah. They paid basically almost our entire cost
The whole venue.
for like the whole venue for that night. So actually, that was my fault. I was trying to concentrate on that.
And that's a grant that we'll have for the season and next.
Yes. So that was actually, that was huge. So imagine that there's another line canceling out like most of those expenses. I saw, yes.
Did Blazer charge us extra for use of that extra room for the divergent?
The founder's room, yeah.
Yes.
But not very much extra.
Oh, just extra.
Wait, did they charge us extra?
Here, can I speak to this?
Steve has information on that.
Yes, go.
So the reason that the two Glazer Center venue rentals are so similar is because we had the gala, we had most of the stuff set up for Sunday, so we did not require as much setup time. And so as such, it normally would have been that Sunday would have been more expensive and you would have seen the offset of the founder's room. We are charged for the founder's room, but as was just mentioned, the cost of that and other things associated with the inclusive concert, that's the word I'm looking for. The inclusive concert are offset by that grant.
Yes.
This is probably a hard question to answer, but is there any way you can tell how much money we save by not doing standard comps choir-wide? Is there any comparison that can be made to understand if that really did make us a lot of money?
Yeah, we can look into that.
It's a difficult question to answer because I don't know if I have the data from it from past
Yeah, it
seasons.
depends if we have, Al, do we still have like comp lists? from
Yeah, I was keeping track of the
previous
comps and the number of comps that got used, so it's spread out in various spreadsheets that I did at different times. I don't know, maybe I should give you like a thumb drive or send you a whole bunch of folders of spreadsheets.
Yeah.
There might be something in the physical files too, it's possible.
Yeah, can you send me all this stuff? I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
On behalf of me and my family, I really appreciate having a concert on my birthday.
Any other questions? Yes.
So the revenue we're paying to OCA for rehearsals, for concerts, is like not that much, right, showing here. And do you have a number of what we're paying them for rehearsal space?
Oh, yeah, somewhere in there, probably for one of the other spreadsheets. Because we're doing the thing where we book it as like a donation of something or other, and then for tax purposes, there's something happening, which actually I think I forgot to do last season, but I'll remember it next time. Yeah, they're charging us like,
This 300 and whatever, is that their standard rate for this space?
These are only the marginal costs, right? Not the rehearsal.
We get a discount.
No,
This
no,
is only for the
venue
concert, but-
There is the concert venue, and that's $325, $325.
I don't actually know what the standard rate is. All I know is this is the rate that we're paying. It seems like it's a pretty good deal.
It is.
We're not paying for it.
No, we're not.
It would make sense for us not to be paying the full rate. Any other questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Oh,
On the venue for the Glazer, how come, there's a difference in the?
Because we didn't have to set stuff up the second day, and also there was like an extra room that we used on one of the days that we didn't use the other day, so this is a difference in line items. Yeah. Great. If there are no further questions, or if you think of any further questions later, you can also email me. Okay, great. That's all I
I'm gonna put Jasmine Hunt on the spot and call you up here to say like a few words about the grant situation, because it's related to the financial statements. I want y'all to know that Jasmine has been working her beautiful little booty off getting this grant. So it doesn't have to be long, but like, have you applied for grants?
Oh, yeah. So, let's see, while we were on break, I applied for another round of the inclusive concert funding. So again, that's the one we already know, that was $2,000. That will cover our costs for this season and next season. I also applied for another round of funding from the Board of Supervisors, which is usually around $500, that covers promotional items, printing, flyers, that sort of thing. And then also applied for, God, I'm trying to remember all the names of them.
Is it the impact?
Yes, that one, thank you. The Sebastopol West 100, and that was for, was it 15,000?
I think so.
I think so too. Yeah, and that would be for a lot of equipment improvements, along with some other things, but we'll just keep our fingers crossed, and if we get it, I'll tell you more. And then there's one more that I'm working on right now that's due in a couple weeks. That is one we also got last year, which is the Creative Sonoma Arts Impact Grant, which was for $4,000 for general operating support. So I'll be reapplying for that. There's a couple questions. Yeah, you're first, Larry.
So I realize I haven't been paying that much attention to which grants we've gotten in the past. Is that just all on the board minutes that are available?
Yeah, we haven't really been applying to that many grants in the past. Some of the ones I mentioned, we applied annually and get about the same amount, like the $500 from the Board of Supervisors, for Linda Hopkins specifically. Yeah, Keith first.
Curious for the Creative Sonoma one, because that's one that OCA has been trying to in the past. And congratulations for having gotten it.
Thank you.
But with an organization like that, if you keep applying consecutive years, do they sort of decide what you've already gotten 1 year? Are you guaranteed to get it again?
No, you're definitely not guaranteed to get it again. It's a really good question. I think it depends, and it's hard for us to know as applicants what it is, right? I think a lot of places are like, yeah, that was great, we liked their application, maybe it's a little bit, I'll update it, won't be exactly the same, hit submit again. But, you know, hopefully they like the same types of things, but also you don't know, maybe there's a whole new group of applicants who are coming in and are offering kind of a different programming that maybe is more attractive to the people who are reviewing the applications.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Keith, yeah.
Sure. Do you think, so like, getting grants,
Yes.
is it limited by the available grants or like your time? Do you need
Both.
open-space time?
Both. Yes. Fantastic. That's what I heard. No. Thankfully, this is part of my day job, so it's something that I know how to do. But I'm always open to support. But yeah, I think right now, based on what we know is out there, I haven't been limited. I haven't been able, I haven't had to say, oh, I can't apply for that one. And I would be very, forthcoming and asking for support from others. So yeah, thanks for checking in. Al.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but that $500 so-called advertising, what we say it's from the Board of Supervisors, but my understanding
It's Linda.
It's the board member for this district
Yes.
that says, give them the.
Yes, so it's Linda Hopkins.
Who is
Yeah.
it now?
Linda Hopkins. Yeah,
I don't
so-
know here,
Yeah, so that's who it's been for several years for us, and it's just been a consistent $500, even though we've applied for higher before. Great question. Even though her name is like on our website and probably our program. Anyway, she's busy. Diane.
I just wanted to remind the membership that you're supported locally by the community council. It provides $500 every year for scholarships.
I don't apply for that one, so I don't get to take credit.
It's on the budget, it's on the budget.
Yeah.
$500 for what?
Scholarships.
Scholarships.
Yeah. Any other questions for me? Great, thank you. And yeah, if you see a grant opportunity, I think, every single one of you sent us that Sebastopol West 100 grant opportunities, so keep them coming, I'm not complaining. It's great to have engaged members who see grant opportunities and say, hey, we should apply for this. So yeah, send those to Jasmine directly, or send them to me, or send them to whoever you feel like sending them to, and we will assess whether we are eligible. That's basically our only limiting factor right now, is whether we're allowed to apply for it or not. So we've been applying to a lot of stuff. One of the last things, sorry, Gage, I tried. One of the last things I wanted to talk about today, and I don't expect us to have an answer or a resolution to this question today, but I did promise that I would bring it up, is the idea of doing an overnight spring retreat in the spring. So for those of you who are newer to the choir, we have not done an overnight retreat since before the pandemic. And it is a really cool opportunity for us to all get together and sing and spend 2 days together, but then we stay the night in between and we eat meals together, and it's super fun. It's like camp for choir, and it's great. I like it. But I will be sending out a brief poll in the next couple of weeks to get your opinions on whether you would like to pursue that again. There is a cost associated with doing a spring retreat, and typically what we have done in the past is that members pay their own expenses, right? So you pay your overnight lodging expenses and your meal expenses for being there. And then, the room rentals are included with the group kind of overnight fees. So if we're all there as a group, we get to use the rehearsal spaces. We have typically used Walker Creek Ranch in the past, which is out in West Marin, and it's a beautiful property, and we know it well, and they are nice. And so it's something that we're thinking about bringing back. I know I have also heard from a lot of folks that they're really enjoying the commute retreat, where you
don't have to sleep in a strange bed that's not yours, and you don't have to, bring all your stuff with you for an overnight, and you'd rather just drive out to Harmony School 2 days in a row and not deal with the overnight thing. So we wanted to get a sort of pulse check from the group about how people feel about that. In order for you to make an informed decision, I want to send you a poll that includes the potential cost, and whether or not that would be a factor for you in deciding whether you would want to participate, or if you would want to request financial aid or a scholarship for attending the retreat. That is one of the things that we included, I think, Jasmine, in the Sebastopol West grant application. So she didn't mention it, but I'm mentioning it. It was one of the things that we put in there was to help support and offset the cost of doing an in-person retreat. We don't know if we're gonna get that grant or not. So I think right now we're just operating under the assumption that everybody would be paying their own fees. There's a lot of levels. You can have you can camp, you can stay in a dorm that's shared with other people, you can have a private room, right? Like there's different levels to choose from. So I will send out all that information, but I just wanted to verbalize it here and see if folks have any questions or immediate reactions. But again, we'll send out a poll so that we can get a sense for where people are on that. Yeah, Kate.
Would people be able to commute to it if they wanted? Would that?
Yes, you can always commute to the retreat. You can also bring your own food to the retreat if you want to. So you could make it free or less expensive for yourself by opting out of the meals that are provided on site, or by commuting rather than staying the night. That's always been an option. I think I would like to see how many people would be interested in staying the night if they could get financial aid, so that we can gauge, whether we have enough just operating expenses that we could cover that, or if we could do a little, fundraiser to make sure that we can cover those costs for people. I don't want people to feel like they can't stay the night if it's not accessible to them financially. Of course, you're welcome to go home if that's more comfortable for you personally. So, yeah, Amanda.
When you have had the weekend or sleepover retreats in the past, was it like an expectation that everyone is coming?
Yes, it is.
It's not like an option.
It's like a required retreat the way we do our retreats now, where it's intensive. It's, we want as many people there as possible so that we're doing a lot of the music practice, education, refinement of the music. So it's really, the days are really music focused. And then we have some more downtime together where people can go on hikes or have dinner together. We usually do like a little talent show, and there's just more kind of community building time built into that since we have that overnight time. But yes, it would still be, highly encouraged. We require your attendance, but it's one night. Some people would in the past spend like the Friday night before. Optionally, that's an option that we can offer, so that you would be there on Friday night and you're already there in the morning, or you can drive in on Saturday morning and just stay Saturday night and then leave Sunday. Those are the kind of typical options that we've used in the past. So I'll be sending that out. Al and then Kathy.
Walker Creek Ranch is a property of Marin Unified School District.
Yes.
So if they make any money off us being here, it's very close.
Yes, it's still supporting a school district like we are now. Thank you for that, Kathy.
If we go to a 2-day retreat in the fall?
Last season was the first fall season that we did a 2-day retreat. It used to be 1 day in the fall and 2 days in the spring with an overnight was kind of the standard structure pre-pandemic. Yeah.
This may be on the calendar, but are the dates for spring up?
I don't think we've set them yet. If we're going to do an overnight retreat, we might need to do a little negotiating with the venue in terms of whether they have availability. It's typically a middle of March weekend, but I don't think we've confirmed the dates yet, unless seeing that no confirmation of dates yet. So be on the lookout for that from me. Please respond to the poll. Let me know if you want to get your voice into the engagement survey and you didn't get a chance to respond to it, but you would still like to provide your feedback. I really appreciate everyone. Board, anything else I missed? Bob.
When do we vote on our budget?
When do we vote on our budget?
We don't.
Well, the members are supposed to vote to accept the financial report from the treasurer. Is that what we've done in the past? Yeah.
The treasurer needs to present the financial.
Oh, that's right. You just have to make a presentation of the financials. There's no voting required. We'll leave all of our voting for spring
But you can always.
elections. Oh, I will, since I'm already standing up here and I have the mic, and then I won't have to make any announcements, and we will have no announcements, maybe. Just kidding. You may have heard that the state of California has implemented different regulations around vaccination requirements than the federal government. That is in coordination with the Western States Alliance. It is still not a broad coverage of vaccines for all humans. So we are waiting at the Public Health Department to see exactly what's going to happen with the insurance piece. Kaiser is covering vaccines for everybody 6 months and over. So if you're a Kaiser member, congratulations, you get a vaccine. If you are not a Kaiser member and you are a person under the age of 65 with no underlying health conditions, you are not eligible for a vaccine this year so far. So I'll continue to monitor this situation, but the board may need to alter the COVID vaccination policy based on availability of vaccine, and we will discuss what that looks like and bring our recommendation back to the membership. It is still my very strong recommendation to all of you who are able to get the vaccine that you get it, especially because it is less available now and fewer people will be able to get vaccinated with the updated vaccine this season. So if you're able to, please get it. And if you're not, sorry. Yeah, Amanda.
So I got mine in early August. I got, a repeat of whatever the last one was. I'm wondering if there's anyone who has attempted to get a COVID vaccine and not been able to get it covered.
I have tried. I have not been able to get an appointment because I am under 65 and I do not have any underlying health conditions that will require it. I've gone to pharmacies and I called my doctor's office and neither of those were available. I'm waiting now. I'm going to test it again now that California came out with new recommendations to see if they'll let me sneak in. So I encourage you, if you don't think you're eligible, to still try, right? You can still try to get it, but yeah, I have not been able to get it yet.
I heard that Kaiser is not very well.
Yes, Kaiser, as I said, Kaiser has decided to vaccinate all of their members age 6 months and older. So if you are a Kaiser member, you can get it from Kaiser. You may also decide to change to Kaiser during your open enrollment period, which for me is not until June. So, yeah.
As awful as it would be if people really can't get vaccines, but if that turns out to be the case, would you then maybe make a different level of requirement for testing?
Possibly the same availability issue is an issue, right? Like the availability of tests is not what it used to be. They're not as easy to find. They're expensive now. So we would want to, I think, tread lightly in terms of requiring tests if we are not able to provide tests to people.
They are $3 a person at Costco. You get a box of 2 for $6.
Great, that's a good piece of information to have. Thank you. But yeah, we will discuss how we move forward as more information comes out.
And if we get the vaccine, you want us to send that information to you?
Yes, I am still the health and safety coordinator. This is the title I've been given for this season. So if you've already gotten vaccinated, our policy is still that everybody needs to get vaccinated with the updated COVID vaccine by October 31st every year. So that's, as of today, that's still our policy. So yes, if you have already been able to get your vaccine, please send the proof to me. I will make note of it and then delete your medical information from my inbox. I never keep any of those files. But yes, I will make note of your compliance with the policy as it stands now. Just know that we may need to pivot on the policy depending on availability of vaccines. Did you have something?
No.
Okay, I'm done. The meeting is adjourned. Wait, Jasmine wants to say something. Oh, we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Did anybody read the minutes from the last meeting? Okay, so we should have a motion, have a second for Sally, all in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? I mean, okay, cool. Thanks to all y'all who weren't even here and worked hard as a choir when we had that meeting for approving our minutes. We love you. So that's unanimous. Okay, thank you.
So before we go to our break, I need a quick show of hands. If you are planning on auditioning for the Sing for Myself solo, please raise your hands. The solos have been sent out over email and addressed in the last 3 rehearsals. If you are auditioning for the small group solo, please raise your hands. Thank you. If you are auditioning for the times they are changing, please raise your hands. Thank you. This is just so we can manage time as best as possible. If you are auditioning for this night, please raise your hands. If you are auditioning for the crowded table soprano alto solo, thank you. If you're auditioning for the opening solo of Music Lifts Our Hearts, which is the small group 1-page audition, please raise your hands. Thank you. Please take a 10-minute break and please return. I need you to be very efficient. Thank you.